Good morning. This is Wednesday, June 23rd, 2021. And today's edition of Glimpses of Grace and Glory, we're going to talk about a very important topic, depression and discouragement. I don't know if you've ever experienced deep depression or discouragement, but it is very real. And some people will come along and say, you need to snap out of that and stop thinking about wrong thoughts and get your mind right. And, while that is true, we do encourage ourselves in the Lord our God. Depression is very real. And some people will say, well, if you're a Christian and have the Spirit of God, you shouldn't go through that. Well, that would mean that Elisha did not have the Spirit of God. That would mean that the Apostle Paul did not have the Spirit of God and he wasn't a Christian. I often wonder if the Apostle Paul, if he had had any clue that he would end up having in the Bible, 14 books of the New Testament were letters that he wrote and are read by tens of thousands, by millions of people, that even the Protestant Reformation was started from his writings, but not in his day. Oh no, not in Paul's day. He had very little popularity. He was despised. He was an outcast. His following, you think he had crowds? Did he have a church building? No. Did he have crowds following him? Absolutely not. If he had been on Facebook or Twitter or whatever, would he have had a following? Very, very little. I'm going to read a few scriptures just to substantiate what I'm saying. Paul, was shipwrecked. He was beaten. He still went forward and preached the gospel, but were the crowds gathering to hear him? Did he have thousands out there? No, he did not. Very few, in fact. So let's read a few scriptures just to show this. Does this sound like a person who never faced discouragement? There was a time when he said, I want you not to be ignorant of the trouble that came to us in Asia, that we were pressed out of measure above strength, insomuch that we despaired even of life. Like, I just die. Elisha said the same thing, Lord, just take my life. I'm not better than my fellows. Just let me die. And that was after a big victory at Mount Carmel with the showdown with the prophets of Baal. Discouragement can take place. God has to lift us out of it. But listen to the Apostle Paul in 1 Corinthians 4:9-13. Instead, I sometimes think God has put us apostles on display like prisoners of war at the end of a victor's parade, condemned to die. We have become a spectacle to the entire world, to people and angels alike. We're just a spectacle. I think us apostles, we're at the bottom of the rung, the bottom rung. Our dedication to Christ makes us look like fools, but you claim to be so wise in Christ. We are weak, but you are so powerful. You are honored, but we are ridiculed. That's all he ever got was ridicule, being despised, being rejected. Not a big following. Even now we go hungry and thirsty. Yes, he went hungry. I thought God would supply our needs. He does, but Paul had to travel. He was hungry. He was thirsty. And we don't have enough clothes to keep warm. He's cold. In prisons often. We are often beaten and have no home. He doesn't have a house. He doesn't even have a home to live in. A homeless man who's rejected. We work wearily with our own hands to earn our living. Oh, where's the church? Doesn't he have a private jet? Doesn't he have like a semi-mansion? If God is taking care of him, shouldn't he have all these things? We bless those who curse us. We are patient with those who abuse us. Even people cursing him, he still had to be patient. He still had to bless people who were abusing him. We appeal gently when evil things are said about us. Yet we are treated like the world's garbage, like everybody's trash. Does that sound like an encouraging story? The apostle says we are the garbage. We apostles are treated like garbage, like everybody's trash, like the garbage of the world, right up to the present moment. That sounds very discouraging. But it was the absolute truth of what he was facing. He had no clue that God was using him. You might have no clue that God is using you. Maybe you feel like nobody cares, nobody would even listen. Whatever I try to do for the Lord is just so minuscule, it's not even noticed. Paul had no idea that he was writing the Bible. He was just writing letters to churches. They weren't even well accepted all the time. They said his speech is contemptible and his bodily presence is weak. When he talks big in letters, but when he gets here, he's just contemptible. Really put down all the time. crushed, being rejected, being destroyed. And yet God upheld him. And look at his letters today. And in 2 Timothy 1:15-18, he says this, "As you know, everyone from the province of Asia has deserted me." You know, when Paul first started out, he said, "At my first call, no man stood with me, but all forsook me. I pray God it will not be held to their charge." He was used to being deserted. He says, "As you know, everyone from the province of Asia has deserted me. Even Phygellus and Hermogenes, they left me too. Even the people that I thought were brothers in Christ who would stick with me, they've all left me. From the whole province of Asia where I hazarded my life to preach. May the Lord show special kindness to Onesiphorus and all his family, because he often visited and encouraged me." Here's one man who sought him out. "He was never ashamed of me because I was in chains." I'm not visiting Paul in prison. That's what most people would say. I'd hazard my life to do that. But Onesiphorus would search for him. "When he came to Rome, he searched everywhere until he found me. May the Lord show him special kindness on the day of Christ's return." Onesiphorus thought Paul needs encouragement. He went to Rome. He wasn't ashamed. He wasn't afraid. He would keep going around asking questions. "Anybody know where Paul is? He's in the Mamertine prison. Let me go down there and visit him." Well, do you know that that's going to make you an associate of his and that you could suffer persecution too? He didn't care. He was there to encourage. Paul needed encouragement. All the people in Asia had deserted him, even the two that he thought would be there for him. And in 2 Timothy 4:9-11, he says, "Timothy, please come as soon as you can." You know, it's terrible when you're lonely. Paul has no wife, he has no children, he has nobody standing with him, and he's preaching the gospel. And he says, "Please come when you can," and he's in prison. "Demas has forsaken me because he loves the things of this life and has gone to Thessalonica. Crescens has gone to Galatia, and Titus has gone to Dalmatia. Only Luke is with me." At least one person's, Luke the physician, he's willing to stick with him. He's there writing down and recording the history. Everybody else is gone. He's cold. He doesn't have enough clothes. He's in prison. He's forsaken by all the people that he hazarded his life to preach to. And it's discouraging. But God upheld him. When he said, "All have forsaken me," he said, "Nevertheless, the Lord stood with me." It's just me and Jesus. And he thinks that there's, he goes and preaches, and then people come behind him and try to destroy what he's preached. He has these Judaizers coming in saying Paul's a liar, and he's being fought on every front. I'm trying to travel with weakness, with cold, nakedness, with hunger, with thirst, and perils among robbers, and perils among my own countrymen. It's nonstop. Can God even use that? Yes, he did. And now millions upon millions upon millions of people read the letters that the Apostle Paul was used to write. You don't know how God will use you. Maybe you're discouraged thinking, my life means nothing. It counts for nothing. I'm alone, or whatever it might be. And maybe you feel very discouraged, but take good hope in this, that the Lord is for you. The Lord is with you, and he uses us when we don't know we're being used. People who might think they're being used might not really be being used. People who think, God, like, my life doesn't mean a thing. You never know the impact that the Lord is having, because it's the Lord and not you. And then there's no pride in it, because God gets all the glory. So be encouraged today, just like King David, when his own men spake of stoning him, and they were all weeping at Ziklag, he encouraged himself in the Lord as God. So may God lift you up today, whatever you're going through. May he encourage you and strengthen you in his service. God bless you.